Hogwarts Legacy is a game that I think is ripe for co-op or multiplayer. Many people have been searching for whether or not the game will have any sort of multiplayer or co-op features, likely because the nature of the game would lend itself so well to that. In this video, I really want to argue not only against a lot of the pushback that people are saying as to whether or not this game should have some sort of co-op or multiplayer, but I want to outline a bunch of the reasons why I think this game would just be perfect for some type of a Hogwarts multiplayer update later on down the line. I'll even at the very end of the video continue to really make my push for this game would be perfect for live service, but don't focus on that just yet. Let's talk about why I think multiplayer or co-op would be perfect for Hogwarts Legacy. First, I want to push back against the reasons that I'm already seeing against it. I saw a video out there of a guy basically just listing all the reasons. He does not think that this game should have any sort of multiplayer or co-op. And he said, you know, single-player games are better when they're just single-player. And I've seen this many times from people. They say, listen, just let a single-player game be a single-player game. The quality tends to go up. The value tends to go up. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with this. I think plenty of games can allow you a companion co-op friend and still have a great story and a great experience. It doesn't necessarily take away from exploring the school and going through your own experience with the game. And I also don't necessarily think that when I envision multiplayer or co-op for Hogwarts Legacy, that that's what I'm looking for, like a really, truly shared experience. More just somebody who can come along with you on missions or check out your room of requirement, because you do, I think, want to experience a game like this on your own, or at the very least you want to experience the story beats and developments in accordance to your own decisions and the like. The other pushback I have seen that you don't want any multiplayer, you don't want co-op or anything like that, is it leads to additive costs and microtransactions. And they have committed in Hogwarts Legacy and said there will not be any microtransactions, there won't be any micro spending or like a shop or anything like that. But I also think that just because you add multiplayer doesn't mean that you're automatically going to see that added to the game, like all these additive costs and spending so that you have to, you know, buy everything extra. I don't think that automatically gets tacked on to multiplayer games. Another concern is it would lead to live service. It would lead to a live service model. It would lead to an ongoing service model for the game, and many people are very much opposed to that. I'm going to argue at the end of this video why I think this game would be perfect for live service, and also really push back on the notion that like the live service is the devil and that, you know, no game should do it, right? And the last thing people tend to say about, no, we don't want multiplayer in a game like Hogwarts Legacy, is they say it's a waste of dev time. Create a good game and just let it be a good game. Don't waste a bunch of dev time on two-player or co-op, because nobody really wants that anyway. I don't agree with that. I think there's a growing desire to play games socially, play games together, and cooperatively is definitely something people are looking for more, I think, than they used to. I think in the past, often you would play a game like this and never expect to play with somebody else, but that is not the growing consensus that I am seeing. So I want to establish all the reasons that this game is perfect for multiplayer or for co-op. First and foremost, the world is massive, and you commonly, in the footage that we've seen, have a companion with you in the gameplay footage. You're typically seeing two people running around together, getting in fights together, exploring together. There's even a couple sections where there's three people fighting and all sort of in a circle, and even right here you can see you have one of the main characters walking with you. Now, that doesn't mean that co-op you would take control of that character, but they've clearly created space and fights to allow for more than one person to be there, more than one source of attacks and defense and things like that. So I really think from what we've seen already, there's room for more than one person in an area. Some of these fights and some of these arena styles, even some of the earlier footage, you saw two people sort of fighting and protecting each other and, you know, trying to stay alive. Now, I know that can complicate development because you suddenly have an aggro split with the enemies, and that can complicate things, but I do think it could make for a really fun experience. Another really good reason that Hogwarts Legacy should have multiplayer or co-op is it's literally a game built in a social environment. You're in a school. Like you tons of students are roaming around, and a lot of the times you're going to be talking to them about what you're doing, and hey, come along with me. Just sort of seems like a natural open world RPG development. Many games do that. You take a companion with you, you talk to somebody, and maybe you hire them in other games to come along with you. And in this game, it just sort of makes sense that you'd be able to hey, load into my game, let's go work on some missions together. The other thing that they recently revealed that I think is the third reason I would love to see some co-op or multiplayer is the Room of Requirement and the customization. The sim game-like investment is just begging to be shared with other players. You can do so much to the Room of Requirement and so much customization and personalization. I think, are going to want to share that with somebody else. Come check out my room, see everything that I did. Maybe somebody's really, really big on Slytherin and another person's really, really big on Hufflepuff, and you'd be able to check out, each other's rooms and just kind of see what it was like. Even if they just gave you some type of multiplayer that was more socially driven, I do think that would be a nice touch. My fourth reason, with all of the different houses and the potential different builds and approaches to magic, the game could really ratchet up the difficulty. You could really make it to where certain activities, dungeons, or maybe even certain areas of the game, you could increase the difficulty and make things really hard, so you have maybe some build synergy. You've got certain spells, I've got certain spells, I'm from this house, you're from that house. I don't think they're setting out to be that type of a game, but when you think about an open world RPG wizarding game, why wouldn't you have that to where you're complementing each other's builds and engaging in combat accordingly? The fifth reason, the Harry Potter stories are about a group of friends fighting against the enemy. They're solving puzzles, they're figuring things out. It's a game that centers around a group going out and doing stuff. So I think it would just really lend itself well to that. Of hey, form your own group of people. I know, maybe they don't necessarily want to evoke too much Harry Potter imagery because of all of the criticisms about you shouldn't play this game or whatever. I think most people aren't paying any attention to that. The general consumers are looking to this game to just be a really fun experience, and that may be another reason why multiplayer and co-op would make perfectly good sense, because it's a game built around the idea of a group of people and friends solving a problem together. My last reason here, before I give some of my defense of live service, is that I think gaming is becoming more and more social, and fandom around franchises like Harry Potter are very socially driven. You can already go to the Wizarding World website, get sorted, go through all of that, link it with your WB account. Plenty of people use these websites to connect with other people from the community, whether it's through forums, Discord servers, Twitter, or just YouTube videos in the comments section. This is the kind of game, and you can even see right here 2 students engaged in sort of a cooperative combat, 2 students running together. It just has imagery and evokes ideas about going through the experience with another person. And games are more social now. People want to play together. People want to sort of share their character and their growth and their customization choices with their friends. I think that is a common expectation. I think more and more going forward, people are going to be surprised when a game launches with no social aspects, with no ability to play with other people, because we're becoming more and more connected digitally with every passing year, and video games are certainly no exception to this. Now, the last section of the video is one where I get lots of heat, okay? I am a live service evangelist. I'm pro live service when it's done right and when it's done well. I'm not pro all of the fear that people have about over monetization, diluted content, things not being substantive enough, and, getting watered down, stretched out content. I think too many people have played live service games for so long that they're jaded. I commonly run into people that are clearly playing one particular live service game and nothing else, and they sort of look at everything else through that lens. Here's a great example of some of the things you can do at your Room of Requirement and all the different customization and investment that you can do. Just a quick glimpse. This was from one of the first gameplay reveals, so they don't actually go into the rooms and edit anything. That was in a later video that really made me think, oh my word, this has so much investment potential. So why do I continue to say that Hogwarts Legacy would make an amazing live service game? I actually recently debated this with my friend 30 and Still Gaming. We do kind of a collaborative show every Friday, and we actually ended up debating with the audience because we were both really heavily in support of live service. Here is some of the stuff you could do. That was very brief, but that was some of the stuff you could do with your pets and things in that room. Now, we basically debated chat and said this game should be live service. It's perfect for it. And my first reason is the time taken to build the depth and breadth of Hogwarts as a location is just begging for something ongoing, a central location, a social hub, a place to connect with other players. My producer has even speculated that we could see a Hogwarts Online as something that they could do later. Many people thinking that Quidditch could be added later, maybe even a side thing like they did with Ghost of Tsushima Legends. It was like a free update side piece game that people could play together. Some of the things inside of Ghost of Tsushima Legends has led me to theorize they might have bigger plans for the next iteration of Ghost of Tsushima, but I still think that the time taken to not just build Hogwarts as a location, but even the areas outside, they're showing the seasons passing here from fall and winter and summer and spring. This area could give that sense of it's living, it's changing. Some of the concept art had the Great Hall decorated for Christmas, and then you could have holiday events like Halloween and others where things are happening in the game. Now, that was revealed that the story is going to take about 30 hours, 30 to 35 hours, and then if you want to do everything, it's going to be around 70 hours. That's a very full game experience, and if they decide to do something ongoing and you have no interest in that, then just enjoy the base game. Just enjoy your 35-hour campaign and your 70-hour completionist run. And if you do that with every single house, that's 4 very lengthy playthroughs that you could enjoy. So I think with how much they have invested in Hogwarts as a location, it's just ripe for a game to build on top of itself. I'm not arguing for diluting content or thinning out the substance or over monetizing a game, but take advantage of your capital and how much time you've spent in this game and in this world. So many games, I think, are going to start doing that after what we sort of saw and what was likely learned with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The second reason I think this would be an amazing live service game is there are other years for the students to experience. You're a year 5 student, and then you're going to, year 6 and 7. Those could be sequels. Those could be DLCs, expansions. There's a variety of ways to expand on Hogwarts Legacy. And again, live service would be a very good subsidizable model where you're paying for things voluntarily to add on to the amazing experience that you've already had. Maybe you have a couple of students. Maybe you have a max level Hufflepuff and a max level Slytherin, and you'd be ready to go and do something else. Go to a different wizarding school. Go out into different areas and have different experiences. Lastly, it's an open world that could grow, and the sim game elements, like a simulator game, the sim game elements in the Room of Requirement feel almost like an MMORPG light game. Like very light MMORPG with that sense of investment and customization and you sort of existing in the world and not just sort of playing it and then putting it away. The sense of investment, customization, changing your character, changing your build, investing in your actual room, to me, just smells like something bigger than a one-off experience. As always, I want to hear what you have to say. Head to my live streams when I'm streaming. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on, and smash the like button. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say below. Debate me, disagree with me. I welcome it. As always, I hope I get to see you in the next video.